This is Dave. We're here at the Cinemark in Robinson Township. We found out today that hadn't heard about this before today, but there's a Glenn Beck hosted event at movie theaters across the country around Common Core, right? Federal education standards. Now, there's lots of, just like with healthcare and so many issues, the environment, there are, in terms of Common Core, there's a lot of disagreement across the political spectrum on whether it's good, bad, in the middle. But unfortunately, right-wing rhetoric, extreme messaging, and propaganda from the likes of Glenn Beck are taking this discussion, this argument, out of the realm of reality into this fantasy world of paranoia and craziness. And we just want to talk to some folks coming out about their impressions of the movie, what their takeaway was, what their biggest concern about Common Core is, and ultimately we want to, if they're echoing a lot of this really extreme rhetoric, we want to be able to talk to folks about how we really need to rein that in, so as a country we can have the discussions, the conversations we need to have on important issues like healthcare, education, the environment, that are really grounded in reality, so we can move forward. What was the thrust of the event? What was the focus?
The thrust of the event was to learn about Common Core and make Common Core history. Bill Gates has put hundreds of millions of dollars into this program because of the data mining that will be done through Common Core with children. He has made the statement that we'll have customers lined up around the corner because we'll know exactly what Dad wants to do.
That was a quote?
That's a quote from a speech that Bill Gates gave.
This is something...
You know everything about your family. It's more than that. It's a formation of our children in a way that is un-American.
How do you guys feel about the Department of Education?
I think it should be eliminated. The Federal Department of Education. Yes.
You want to do away with it?
I think it should be. I personally think it should be left to the states.
So let me ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust Glenn Beck as a source of credible information on education and other issues?
I trust him 100% because he will give you the facts. He'll give you the resources, the sources of where he gets his information, and he then says, do your own homework. He's written a book. If you want to read the book, it's called We Will Not Perform, and everything he cites is sourced in that book.
So you don't do CNN?
I've watched some CNN, but it's not. We're not discussing education.
When you sit down to watch TV, your news TV, where do you trust? Where do you trust your information?
That's not what this is about.
It has nothing to do with Common Core presentation.
This is not about.
Well, it's about our knowledge and understanding.
No, it's not. Our knowledge and understanding is probably a totally different level than most people. Because we have done more research and stuff about it over the last 2 years.
You guys watch TV news?
Occasionally, very seldom. Occasionally, I'll watch some local KDKA and stuff like that.
You don't watch cable?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
When you do, what do you prefer to watch?
I watch Fox, but that has nothing to do with what my perception of the Common Core is.
This is not about what TV station I watch or what radio station. It is about the education of the future of our country and how do we want our kids to be? Do we want them to have critical thinking skills, or do we want them to walk around like little matchbox zombies that have not a thought in the world and can't think for themselves?
If you were going to recommend some places for us to go to read more about this, like websites and other stuff, where should we go?
You can go to No PA Common Core, Founded in Truth, Commonwealth Foundation. You can go. Founded in Truth is good.
Foundedintruth.org. I'll just Google it. Founded in Truth. Okay.
Founded in Truth.
No PA Common Core, Commonwealth Foundation.
PA Against Common Core.
Pennsylvanians Against Common Core is a Facebook site that posts information on it. So,
Truth in American Education is now the website.
Would you agree that Glenn Beck has a history of being inflammatory?
It was not inflammatory.
You don't think Glenn Beck has ever been inflammatory?
I think that he tries to educate people to see both sides, and if you want to know
Do you think he's a balanced source of information?
Yeah, he's not.
When he was on Fox as well?
On Fox, he was not a news person on Fox. He was a commentator. He had his show, and it was about educating people on certain things.
Well, one of the problems with Fox is they kind of blur that line
And so,
between commentary
but
and...
MSNBC doesn't. MSNBC doesn't.
Well,
MSNBC doesn't. CNN doesn't.
I feel like there's a big difference between MSNBC and Fox because if you think about Fox's slogan, what's their slogan?
Fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. So they're setting
Their
things up.
news is fair and balanced.
But they're
they
setting.
do not say that all of their shows are fair and balanced. This is one thing that I have always given Glenn Beck credit for, is he says all the time, "Don't take my word for it. Do your own research."
Right, he
always does, all the time. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. And I don't hear anybody else saying that.
I hear people saying that all the time.
No, I don't.
But I mean, my concern about commentators like Glenn Beck is there's like a really powerful, especially when he was on Fox. I haven't followed him. You know, he's off doing this other thing. Well, I know, but there was a very powerful emotional component to how he approaches.
Well, you know what?
What he imparts to people, and what I see in folks is that they get very attached to that kind of emotional part of it, and it kind of overwhelms the facts. The reason we're working on this nonprofit, the Hear Yourself Think project, is that there's really, it's kind of frightening to me to see how there's just all this cacophony of like kind of emotional storytelling and narratives that flies around as news. One of the big problems, like I discussed on Fox, is the kind of blurring and almost the destruction of the line between emotional commentary and what should be solid researched information. That's not exclusive to Fox, but I think Fox is kind of the poster child for that kind of model.
Well, here's the thing what happened with news, period. I'm just going to, this is my opinion. When we went to a 24-hour news cycle, they had to have something to fill the time. And so what stations started to fill the time with was opinion. People sitting there talking just to hear themselves talk about can't hear yourself think. Okay,
that's part of it.
Okay,
that's a big
so
part.
Then
and the money
it becomes who's going to get the most listeners, because that's advertising dollars. So it becomes a competitive market. Who's going to be able to get the most listeners?
In that framework of just putting a lot of opinion.
Right.
Well, who won that war?
Fox.
Right. They played a money game.
So more people were interested in hearing what they were saying on Fox than they were saying on other channels.
Well,
so more people started.
Well, by
to
your own
watch
argument, they were less interested in facts and more interested in opinion, so Fox won.
Yeah.
Well, then they're not getting facts on Fox.
But I'm not saying
opinion.
on the news shows, the strictly news shows
are different
from the opinion shows.
Well,
and it's like that on MSNBC. It's like that on CNN. They have people who are on there.
Well, like you
to
gave
do
us those
what
websites to research, please Google misinformation, cable news, and look at some of the recent studies from universities to see who's really misinforming.
I don't think Americans are that smart about politics at all. I think that Americans learn more about what's going on in the Atlanta Housewives and those shows.
Well, that kind of feeds back to what you're saying, because we had to fill all this airtime. And so news became more like entertainment. Fox picked up that model, and they got all the... So Fox is kind of like a reality show. It's not reality, but it's a reality show. Ladies, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You guys were very super kind.
Thank you.
So Dave again, and we here we are at the Cinemark in Robinson after the movie, after the Glenn Beck event, the interactive event around Common Core. We talked to some ladies for a good half an hour, and we got some really interesting feedback from them about their opinions on education, on what happened in the event itself, on how 100% they trust Glenn Beck. And although they didn't want to admit it, the one woman in particular, they were really cagey about their news source, but she finally admitted that when she watches TV news, it's always Fox. And we heard a very typical litany of misinformation, very well informed and extensive misinformation, but misinformation nonetheless.